is Rich Onesti. I own the Arcana Theater right down the street here, so I'm sure some of you have seen it, gone past it. I actually should say I own it with my brother, Ron Onesti. What I'm here to talk to you about is a couple things. First off, I'm going to start off with about owning your own business as opposed to working for somebody. I am fortunate enough to own my own business with my brother. He and I, we've been doing this for about 25 years. Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to take this jacket. All right. A little warm in here.
We don't mind.
There you go. Oh, yeah. Thanks. So we've been doing this for about 25 years, and fortunately, he's basically my best friend. And we've got a great relationship, so we work well together. The benefit of having a family business is that we trust each other, and he doesn't have to worry about if I have his best interest in heart, or I don't have to worry about him. The bad part about it is we're stuck with each other. I'm his brother. So what's he do? Fire me? He's stuck. So he can't do anything about it. But fortunately for us, we have a great time together, and we are passionate and we love what we do. So it works out great. So that's one of the benefits of owning your own business. The disadvantage of it is that, like yesterday, for example, I started my day at 11:30 in the morning. It was great, except I didn't leave till midnight. So you have some leeway, but it's your job, it's your responsibility to make sure that things get done. Not necessarily to do it all yourself, but just to make sure that things get done so that when somebody else doesn't show up, it falls on you to get it done. So that's why some people, depending on how their personality is and their lifestyle, some people would rather just do a 9 to 5, go in at 9, leave at 5 o'clock, and then you don't have to think about it. A lot of people work for me, 5 o'clock when they leave, they don't think about work again. They're just at home or whatever they're doing, and that's great for them. But for me personally, I love what I do and I'm passionate about it, so I don't mind putting in the extra hours. So that's, we'll call it for right now, the time that we have, that's the main benefit and advantages or disadvantages of owning your own business as opposed to working for yourself, working for somebody else. I'll throw one more out there. Typically when you work for somebody else, as far as a pay rate, you typically are set, you don't have too many options. Working for yourself, it's really however much you put into it, in a lot of cases, is what you're going to get out of it. I will say that typically, to start with, you're going to put in a heck of a lot more than you're going to get out. The goal being ultimately, if you do it right and you work hard at it, ultimately you'll take out a lot more than you put in because you did your work. So that's that. So now let me get specific with the Arcana Theater and what I do. We are lucky enough to basically be in the business of making people have a good time. That's my job. How many people here have gone to concerts before? Well, many concerts, okay, cool. So you went because you liked the act, you liked the singer, whatever it was, you went because you enjoy who it is and you want to see them. And probably you had a good time. Well, at the end of my day, I get to, just last weekend, at the theater, we had a sold-out show, 950 people, and at the end of the day, I got to know that 950 people left having a great time and had great memories because of me. That's a pretty good feeling as opposed to some other jobs, like, if you do leave at 5 o'clock, and, or whatever. For me, my job is to have people have a good time. So let me tell you how it works typically for a concert, just so you have an idea. So first thing we do is we try to figure out who people want to see. We come with a band or an act that we think you guys would be interested to come, actually buy a ticket and come see. Then we contact their management company, and their job is to negotiate. That's when we figure out, one, what date are they open, what works for us, and then we discuss price, how much you guys want, how much can we afford, what works out for us, and then we do a contract. They have also a booking agency, which basically a booking agency's job, let's say you're a singer, and I'm a booking agency and I hire you, or you're one of my acts. Well, my job as your booking agency is to call places like me and make sure that you're working as much as I can, right? So, okay, she's got an open weekend, you're not singing anywhere, let's get you a gig. Well, that's what a booking agency does. So we talk to all those people, we arrange it. So let's say we finally agree on a price and a date and all that kind of thing. Then we go over what's called their rider. Every act has a rider. And what a rider is basically an explanation of what this act needs in order to do the show. And it's everything from what they want for breakfast, what they want for lunch, how many, in my case, how many speakers they want, how many different lights, all this kind of stuff. We have to go line by line and negotiate that and make sure that we make them happy and they make us happy and everything goes off flawlessly. That also includes, okay, how many airline tickets do you need? How many hotel rooms do you need? What time you're gonna land at the airport, ground transportation, they've gotta be picked up, and all that kind of thing. So the most important part of the first part of the concert is the paperwork. Is going over everything, figuring out all the details, and making sure that you spoke to everybody. Then we get to the show, the day of the show. Okay, 10 o'clock we pick up the band, 11 o'clock they get to the theater, and we do sound checks. Now that's more my job as far as I'm the technical guy at the theater. So if you've been to a concert, you see the guy in the back in front of the big console with all the knobs and the lights and all that stuff, that's me. I like my job because I get to be creative. Every show, it's called sound mixing, because if there's a band on stage, for example, a drum kit typically takes about 12 microphones to mic, because we mic everything individually. And on that board, every one, I basically determine, okay, this is how much of the kick drum, this is how much of the guitar, this is how much of the vocal, and I mix everything together to form what you guys hear. Excuse me. So I can be creative. I also do the lighting. And, you know, like, do you, anybody here see The Voice, for example? Okay. And The Voice, Blake Shelton, to give you an example, he's a judge on there. Real tall country singer. Real nice guy. I've done a number of shows with him. You can imagine me next to this guy. He's like 6'4", 6'5". As you can all see, I'm a very tall guy myself. So it's pretty funny with me standing next to him. We did a show. Stop laughing. I'm not that short. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, dude. So we did a show, and the dressing rooms were actually about a football field away from the stage. And it turned out that day happened to be pouring, so I got the job of driving him from the dressing room to the stage, and I had a little car at the time, so it took about 5 minutes for him to actually fit in my car. The reason I tell you that is we're actually fortunate enough where in our position, we get to meet these people. Like at every concert that you guys went to, you probably went because you liked the band. Well, it'd probably be pretty cool to go be able to talk and hang out and go have dinner with these people. Well, that's one of the benefits of our position, is that I get to talk, hang out. I've got a lot of acts, a lot of people that you guys probably know and hear of. I have probably a lot of their home or cell numbers in my cell phone, because I get fortunate enough that I get to talk to them. And like I said, when these people come in, we just did a Joan Rivers, which I don't know if you guys know that, but we just did a Joan Rivers taping for a comedy special at the theater. Well, her too, she's a pretty big star, and you know, I get to talk to her and her daughter and take her to dinner and do all these things. So it's pretty much, it's a lot of fun for us. Let me get back to some of the other things. Crisis management, I know I need to speak about. With, like, for example, if you guys watch Glee, right? That, you know, every song they get into and every dance they do, it seems like they do it perfectly the first time, all that kind of thing. Well, being a TV show and all that kind of thing, they get to say, cut, let's redo this, and you know, they probably take 10 takes to do some of these dance steps. But when it comes to live stuff, there are no do-overs. Whatever happens, happens. So in live shows, typically something happens. Cable goes bad, some light stops working. The most important thing is to stay calm. Rely on what you know. In any situation, I don't care if it's work, personal, whatever, in my opinion, the worst thing to do is just react without thinking. You know, if a fire alarm goes off here, I know they teach you, the worst thing to do, everybody just jumps up and starts running. You can't do that. That's the worst thing to do. Jump up calmly, walk slowly. Just the reason for that is because when you get too excited and you jump up and start running, you make really bad decisions. If you're not thinking, instead of running out the exit, you're gonna run into a closet. Now you're in much bigger trouble. It's the same principle. You gotta do it calmly. Think about what you've learned, what you've been taught. Like one of the best things that you can do in any profession, anything that you're thinking about, go do an internship. Go talk to the people who do it every day and learn what day-to-day operations is like. I've got people starting next week that one of them's in a band, a couple of them have never done anything. It seems cool to them, so I'm gonna have them follow me a day and have them show them what it takes to put a show on. Have them wrap cables, because you know what, in my job, a lot of it is wrapping cables. If you hate wrapping cables, don't take this job, you know? But the best thing to do is to find out. Talk to the people who know. And one of the strongest suggestions I can give you, and again, no matter if it's my profession, my situation, or anybody's, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say dumb, but I'm gonna say it. The dumbest people I know are the people who think they know everything. I've been doing this for 20 years or so, and I have people who work for me that just started, been doing it for a year. They're 18 years old, and I still listen to their ideas, because I don't care if you've been doing it forever, whatever, an idea is important. And you may come up with a great idea, so listen to people, no matter what you think you know, just talk to people and pay attention, and don't assume that you know everything. Because I've gotten ideas and new ways of doing stuff from somebody who doesn't even know what they're talking about officially. But because it's a fresh mind and a fresh way of looking at it, they know what you're talking about. So, what else? There's my voice over here. What else am I supposed to
What
talk
were some of your challenges in school that actually turned out to be strengths as an entrepreneur?
Sorry, she thinks for me if anybody wants to know. So, well, in school, I actually, I was, let me put it this way. My sophomore year in high school, I still to this day have the record for the most attentions in my high school, because I had a challenge my sophomore year. I wound up talking a little bit too much in class and had a few issues. However, senior year in high school, I actually, honor roll, student council, came around and I realized that as much as I thought that, you know, it was easier for me not to do my homework necessarily and not to do the work, I found out that it actually turned out to be a heck of a lot easier to actually do it, because I didn't have the stress of not knowing and having all this pressure. That's why I was acting up, because I didn't know what I was doing. And I was too embarrassed, quite frankly, to say that I didn't. And I acted out that way. So for me, it worked out better. And what that taught me is the preparation and the knowledge of whatever it is. I don't care if there is such a job, if you're the pencil sharpener, you know, find the best way to sharpen that pencil and just find out whatever information, and don't be afraid to do the work for it. Because in the long run, the little hard work that you start with will make it so much easier. I'm telling you, you gotta trust me on this. In the long run, you'll be so much better off. So that's my best suggestion to do that.
Have you ever worked in a corporate setting, more traditional than running your own show, and how was it different?
All right, yes, I did. For a couple of years, I stopped doing this, and I actually built retirement buildings, retirement communities. And I was a project manager, and I was in a corporate office every day. I did woke up at 6 a.m., was on the train at 6:45, got downtown at 7:30, started my day, 5 o'clock, I left and was home. And it was nice, I guess. For a guy like me, it was very boring. You know, I personally am not the type of guy who can do the exact same thing every day, all day, go home. You know, for me, in the entertainment field, and because I get to do shows all over the country, you know, every day is a little different and a little more exciting for this reason. Or, you know, I've got a show coming up, which is a band that I love. So I can't wait to do that show because it's fun for me. I enjoy this job, so for me, I don't need to it's not like I'm watching the clock, I can't wait to punch out at 5 o'clock. I get sometimes I'm disappointed, like, come on, day's over already? I love it. So that would be a very important thing for you guys to do, to find something that you love. Don't worry about the money will come. If you find something you love, you'll enjoy it, you'll do really well at it, and the money and that kind of thing will come. I'm fortunate where I love what I do, and the money's pretty decent, I can't complain.
What are some of the liabilities?
Liabilities, well, that is the difference between owning your own business and or working for somebody. Did I cover this? I apologize. It's my third time talking about this. Owning your own business, that is when, you know, you are responsible for everything, and it's not only just in owning your own business, it's any position, we'll call it of authority, if you're a manager, or anything more than, I'll call it a standard employee. If you're in charge of people, then you're responsible for things that affect their lives. Just as simple as, if you make somebody work on a Saturday, well, if their child, for example, has their only school play that they've been, are in that day, well, because you just decided to have them work on Saturday without really taking them into consideration, well, now you're making them miss a pretty important moment in their child's lives, or, just for an example. So whenever you're in a management position, you own your own business, you gotta realize there are a lot more responsibilities, and you have to take other people's lives into consideration, because what you do and the decisions you make very much affect them. If it's good or bad, I mean, if you make a good decision, well, maybe you just increase the business enough where you get to give these people a raise, which is obviously is great, or give them a day off. But if you make really bad decisions, well, you're gonna make people lose their jobs. So you really have to be very considerate and very, very aware of, we'll call it the authority of the position you have, because it really does affect a lot more people than yourselves. And that seems like an obvious statement, but it's a lot harder than you think to basically not be selfish and actually be thinking about other people.
Our last question before we open it up to everyone, what do you look for in an intern?
Well, an intern, I need an intern, I need somebody, because right now, as an intern, you don't know anything, and I know you don't know anything. So, I'm not interested in what you know. I need to know that you're excited, that you're energetic. I mean, if you walk in, I've had some interns walk in and they can't wait to sit down. Can't wait. Okay. Yeah, I'll be sit over here. You let me know when you need something. What interns that have impressed me have been, if I give them a job, and let's say it's in my mind, it's okay, you got 15 minutes to get this job done. If they're done in 10 minutes, I've had two scenarios. One, the guy who's done in 10 minutes, and then he goes, sits down and waits the last 5 minutes waiting for me to speak. Yeah, I've got 15 minutes, I'm gonna wait. Or the guy who's done in 10 minutes, and comes up to me, hey, I'm done, what else can I do? Be excited and be willing to learn, because remember, that's what you're there for. You're there for two reasons: to learn, to show that this is, or to learn about the business, and more importantly, learn that it's something you like. And if it is what you like, then like it and love it and get excited about it, because that's the only way that I'm gonna hire you. Because if you're, for this industry, the entertainment industry specifically, as a general rule, you gotta love it, because it's a lifestyle more than a job. If you want a job, that's a bank or something. This is you gotta love it.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions? Yes. Oh, you work or you're not? Okay. Yes, sir.
It seems like you get to meet some pretty big stars.
Yeah, no, I do, definitely.
Who else have you met?
Well, I'll say the biggest show, I'll put it this way, the biggest show that we ever, concert that I personally put on, it was Metallica. And that was, it was for 75,000 people. And that was one of my personal cool moments, I would call it, because, Ron and I, my brother and I, were standing on stage right before the show started, and literally looked out into a sea of bodies. 75,000 people is a huge amount of people. And it's, you know, you look out at it and it's like, we created that, you know? And like I also did in Alice Cooper's show at the time, and that one we had about 45,000 people. And it wound up that I actually had to, during the show for, you know, at the time to get into it, but I actually had to stay on the stage for the show. And I was, believe it or not, Mr. Big that I am, I was a security guard for the show. And I actually sat on the stage for it, and it turned out that I actually wound up becoming part of the show. The guitarist was playing in my ear, and we started, you know, fooling around, and I kind of got into the whole thing with it. So it's actually a really cool thing, but we've done, yeah, it's pretty cool, yes.
How did you get into the theater business?
Well, the theater business, we actually started out, I started out doing shows for like small acts. Like, do you ever go to a restaurant and there's a guy singing in a restaurant? Just one guy with like a CD background, CD player. That's what I started doing. And then little by little we started doing bigger acts and bigger acts. And one of the things that we were doing, we were like a booking agency, like I'm going to do for you one day. And so we were booking these acts, and we were booking acts at this theater. And it turned out the guy stopped returning our calls, and we finally reached him, is because he couldn't have the theater anymore, and he closed it, and they were going to make it office spaces. And that's where Ron and I, who always wanted a theater, were like, let's step in and save this theater, and that's how we want to buy. I think your hand was up first, yes.
Have you ever had people who turn you down, like when you play,
For, you mean acts?
Yeah.
Sure, no, that happens, and it's not always for bad reasons. It's sometimes there's also there's a lot of rules in these kind of things. Like if there's a lot of concert venues around here, so if my artist over here happens to be playing at one venue on, let's say, January 1st, well, there's a 90 days and 90-mile clause that says you can't play by me within 90 days and 90 miles, you know, of that date. You know, like if I wanted her on January 15th, I couldn't do it. And also, it's also money too. Sometimes they want more than I can afford. So sure. Yes, sir.
This is kind of a stupid question. but
No such thing.
Yeah, there is. Is your kind of haunted?
It's kind of haunted. That is a matter of opinion. I will say this. I have been there at 2 a.m. By myself, and the lights in the city have gone out. And it was quite the interesting time. Let me just leave it at that. There are quite a few different noises and situations there. So I'm not going to say yes, and I'm definitely not going to say no.
Have you worked with a lot of DJs?
You definitely have. You'd be surprised. We also do a lot of corporate events and things like that.
DJ, palm up.
No, I mean,
I want to know.
we do all that kind of stuff. You know, we have any situation you can think of, I've done. But to answer your question, yes.
Yeah, I DJ, so.
All right, there you go. I want to say more.
How did you go from a 950-person theater and then you said 75,000 people?
Well, we do events all over the place. The theater is just one. That's a property that we own. That's just one venue. Again, we've been doing this for 20 years. So I mean, we go all around the country and do shows. I mean, even locally, that's not like the only place we do stuff at. That's just one of our venues. You know, we produce a lot of our own shows. We also get hired by other people who don't know, and that's what our job is. You know, there's venues that they want to have a concert, they don't know how to do it, so they hire us, and we put it on at their venue. Anything else?
You're always welcome to stop by and hang with Rich at the theater too. Seriously, I'm going to give you our website.
Yeah,
And he
please
loves
check
to
out our
have
website.
learners. Come by anytime.
Yeah, I love what I do. I love to talk about it. So any questions, always feel free to.
What's your name?
Rich, Onesti.
Onesti or Onesti?
Onesti, O-N-E-S-T-I.
I was actually gonna go to the Michael Jackson tribute that you guys had.
Yeah, you mean before, or we got another one coming up?
Oh, you really?
Yeah, thanks. And this one is actually, he's like supposedly the best in the country. You
Nah,
like
just
that? Pardon me?
Nothing.
I don't remember,
You gave me a little bit too much.
yeah, you're cut. Roby, do I grab some in there?
Do you mind?
What's up,
Yeah, no,
dog?
check check that out.
I'd actually probably like to say.
Yeah, no, that's actually, it's supposed to be really cool. It's live band, everything's, he's singing live. It's awesome. Hey, my
Thank you so much for your
Thanks, everybody,
attentive
for
listening.